Hi, good morning all. Welcome to the Early Bird. Let's get on the games. We have 4 to talk about. 3 Eastern games. Fun night of hockey. We got to get back to the dance, guys. Okay, here we go. And it starts with the Islanders defeat Hurricanes in double overtime in Game 4 to stay alive in the Eastern first round. The numbers. 44 shots Carolina, 35 Islanders. Islanders wide on the face-off, 68% to 32. They were 1 for 2 on the power play, and the Hurricanes were 2 for 4. 40 hits for the Islanders, 24 for the Hurricanes, 22 blocks Isles, 18 Hurricanes. Islanders 22 giveaways also, 16 Hurricanes. 1 takeaway Islanders, 6 Hurricanes. Shots on goal per period. 8-6 Canes in the first, 13-8 Canes in the second. Islanders 11-5 in the third. In the first overtime, look at that, 17-9 for the Hurricanes. Couldn't convert. We go to double overtime, and on their first shot in double overtime, the Islanders score. They stay alive. Final shots 44-35. Scoring? Jarvis opened it up on the power play at 8 minutes into the first period. 1-0 Hurricanes after 1. Barzal replies in the second at the 10-10 mark, halfway through the game, and it's 1-1 after 2. We go to the third. Pajot makes it 2-1 Islanders at 1:38 on the power play again. Power play played a role in this game, guys. And then the Hurricanes tie it up with just under 6 minutes left at 14:08 on the power play. Neeson forces the overtime. We go to overtime. Barzal on the first shot in double overtime. There you see it at 1:24. And the Islanders stay alive. And they looked thrilled. I got to admit, it was kind of a nice scene. Patrick Waugh was freaking out. I mean, this was huge for this Islanders team to get this win. So we'll see if they can build off of it. But we're in the day and age, guys, that nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. Even 3-0. It's not like the olden days when, 3-0 was pretty much you were toast and done. But that's where that is. Okay, guys, let's go over to Tampa Bay. No header in this one, guys, so I got to start with the numbers. Don't ask me what that's about. They just never put a header. So I'll just create one in my head and tell you that the Tampa Bay win a convincing game to stay alive, really. This is really what happened in this one. So the numbers say shots on goal, 32 Tampa, 25 for Florida. Tampa Bay had the edge in faceoffs, 54% to 46. They were 2 for 5 on the power play. And the Cats were 0 for 2. And yes, hard-hitting game again. Look at this. 75 hits for Tampa Bay, 69 for Florida. These teams don't like each other. You can bet on it. 19 blocks Tampa Bay, 17 Florida. 10 giveaways Tampa Bay, 4 for Florida. And 6 takeaways Tampa Bay, 7 for Florida. Shots a goal per period. 14-5 in the first Tampa. 15-8 in the second Florida, 10-5 in the third Tampa for that 32-25 total. Scoring? Stamkos opens it up at the 8:54 mark on the power play, 1-0 Tampa. And then Hagel on the a shorthanded goal at 12:09 makes it 2-0. So special teams are playing into it at this point at 12:09. And Braden Point, who's been overall pretty quiet in this series, at 15:07 makes it 3-0. Tampa with a commanding lead going into the second. Second period, Verhaeghe gets the Cats on the board finally, makes it 3-1 at 4:17, and Hagel replies and answers that one at 9:40, makes it 4-1 to reestablish that 3-goal lead. But then Reinhart at 11:10 makes it 4-2, and then Ekman Larsson makes it 4-3 going into the third. So you would think there's a good chance this might sweep out, but Stamkos says no to that at 9:34, makes it 5-3, and you could feel right there the game was pretty much done. This Tampa Bay team was not going to go away. And Nicholas Paul at the very end at, oh, hold on, guys. I lost my spot here. He scores at the 16:22 mark. Am I reading that right, guys? Let me open it up. Yeah, it looks like it. All right, 16:22. And that's your game. Pretty much that was it. Tampa Bay puts it away. Statement win, stay alive, and everything else you could say that goes with that. I'm not that surprised Tampa won this game. No, I mean, I was kind of surprised that the Florida went up 3-0 in this series, to be honest. I expected Tampa to go out in 6 in this series, but right now I would expect Florida to close this out next game at home. They just look so good. There's not much weakness in that team. Okay, let's take a look now at the one you guys want to talk about. Boston, Toronto. Here we go. Bruins defeat Maple Leafs in Game 4 on verge of winning series. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, are they taking it today? They are getting the heat today, folks. Let's look at the numbers. Shots on goal, 25-22 Toronto, and they had 61% of the faceoffs to 39. They were 0 for 3 in the power play. Their power play has been invisible in this series, guys, and their penalty kill also has been terrible. Boston scored another power play goal. They're 1 for 3 yesterday. Big hitting game, 62 hits Toronto, 35 for Boston. You would think that by that stat, Toronto was more into it. I'll talk about that in a sec. 6 blocks Toronto, 27 for the Bruins. And it was more of a frustrating blocking game by Boston than it was they were under siege. They weren't really under siege. 6 giveaways Toronto, 3 Boston. 9 takeaways Toronto, 7 Boston. Shots and goal per period. 8-7 Bruins in the first, 9 apiece in the second, 9-5 Toronto in the third for that 25-22 total. And believe me, that the Bruins will accept that all day long. Scoring. Van Riemsdyk opens it up at 15:09. The Bruins are up 1-0. We go to the second. Everybody's beloved Brad Marchand on the power play makes it 2-0 at the 8:20 mark. And then the dagger, Pasternak at 19:18 in the last minute, makes it 3-0. We go to the third. They put in Wall and nets. They try everything they can to switch it around. Marner gets his first of the playoffs at 5:43. And a really nice play, actually, by Marner. And that's your game, folks. That is it. I'm going to talk about this in a sec. I'm coming back to this Toronto game in a sec. Let's go out west and we'll wrap up the games, and I'll talk briefly about it. Here we go. Stars win Game 3 in overtime. Cut Golden Knights lead in West first round. The numbers. Dallas, 46 shots to 34. Vegas played well in this game, but just not good enough, I'd say. 51% on the faceoffs to Vegas, 49. 0 for 2 on the power play for Dallas. 0 for 1 for Vegas. Dallas had 26 hits. The Golden Knights had 39. 27 blocks Dallas, 32 Vegas. 6 giveaways Dallas, 10 Vegas. 11 takeaways Dallas, 9 Vegas. Shots and goal per period. 18-7 Dallas in the first. Played desperate like a team should that's on the brink, because they pretty much were if they lost this game. 15-10 Dallas in the second, and then 10-5 Vegas in the third, and in the overtime, 8-7 Dallas. 46-34 total. Scoring. Johnson opens it up for Dallas, 1-0 at the 11-11 mark, 1-0 after 1. Heiskanen makes it 2-0, very important 2-0 in a game like this at the 5:25 mark. Because if you look, McNabb replies, makes it 2-1 at 10:40, and then Eichel gets his second in the playoffs at the 13:50 mark. And we are tied going into the, that's a shorthanded goal, 2-2 going into the third. Nothing happens in the third. Overtime. Johnson scores again, 16-23, and Dallas can breathe easy and say we're back in this series. So guys, I'm going to go over this briefly. Islanders winning. I think that might be the only win the Islanders get, but it's a kind of a huge win, especially for some of their younger players, and if they're going to have any kind of like summer where they can look back at that series and say, okay, at least we put up a fight. They did it yesterday. This Tampa and Florida series, I think Florida will put it away in Game 5, but if they don't, this could go 7 for sure. It could, because this Tampa team is mentally strong, so you got to put them down while you can. And Toronto, I'm going to close up with. I'll come back to Toronto in a sec. Dallas. Dallas needed to do something because I don't think they're going to win this series still. I still think like it's going to be 4-2 for Vegas probably. But they have to do something because it's either that they're going to start looking like a team that can handle playoff pressure. If they would have lost yesterday, they would just look that way. Now, Toronto. Guys, this Toronto Maple Leafs team is like so dysfunctional, okay? They had tons of hits in this game, but I'm telling you, it was a type of game you didn't notice them. You just didn't notice them. Toronto, for the first 2 periods, guys, they didn't look very concerned, the situation, what it called for. Like, this is a game they had to win, right? They had to win this game. And there was nowhere there. I mean, Marner did his usual disappearing act. I know he scored a goal. Scored a nice goal, actually. But Marner, guys, is not playoff built. And if the Sabres fans ever again talk about going after a guy like that makes $11 million a year and does not want to play playoff hockey, please don't. Don't even go there, Sabres fans. Don't, because I'll close that down so fast on you. No. We don't want guys like that in our team. We want guys like Brad Marchand. That's the kind of guys you want. That's the kind of guys that win in the playoffs. And Matthews left, get this, in the 3rd period. He didn't come back out because he had a tummy ache, guys. Matthews had a tummy ache. So this is what they're dealing with in Toronto. They're paying these guys all this money. And I will say something, though. Tavares played pretty good. He played pretty good in this game, guys. He was engaged, actually. He's useless offensively. He is. He's garbage. But physically, he was doing his thing. You know, he was doing everything he could to help the team win. And you should have seen there was on the bench at a certain point of the game, if you guys didn't watch this game, a certain point in the game, Nylander looks over at Matthews and Marner and basically tells them both to shut the hell up. Both of you crybabies. Like, yeah, this is what's going on in Toronto right now. So this is fun to watch, guys. Watching this Leafs implode one more time. It's hilarious because this is the year that they felt they had the best chance to beat Boston, and it's not happening. The Bruins might take them out quicker than ever in this series when it's all said and done. If I was a Toronto fan, I'd be going nuts. I'd be going nuts with this team. I wouldn't be able to hack it if it was me. I would be going nuts if the Sabres ever become a playoff team like Toronto. That's what I want to close with, guys. Next time we want to whine and complain we're not in the playoffs, imagine if we were year after year and doing what Toronto does. Think about that. So let's make sure before we get to the playoffs, because we will get there, let's get it right. Let's get this team on the right track so that dysfunction never happens to our team come playoff time. Because that Leafs team, guys, are not playoff built. They just don't look it. I'm surprised. I thought Toronto had a chance. I still picked Boston this year just because it's Toronto. But I'm surprised at the lack of heart. I just am. You know, and if you were to look at the numbers, you'd say, well, Wayne, look how many hits they had in the game. Yeah, they threw some hits. They did. There's no doubt. They got the physical game down, but they don't have the heart game. There's no heart attached. It's hard to explain with this Toronto team. They're the only team that can throw like 60 hits, and I'd say they played with no heart because it's Toronto. It's bizarre, guys. I've never seen anything like this in the playoffs. I don't think ever following hockey. I remember years ago I'd argue with people about the Leafs, and they'd say, yeah, I want to build our team like Toronto. I said, we don't even know what they're going to do in the playoffs. What, we're going to judge they're going to win a Stanley Cup? He goes, oh, yeah, they're going to win a Stanley Cup with this bunch. Why? Because they got lame Tavares? I don't think so. That guy's a curse, man. You don't want that guy near your team. Forget it. Right now, guys, that's what I'm seeing with the Leafs. I'm seeing the same old thing again. I'm going to make a special video if they lose next game. You guys have a little fun with it. Done. That's my rant, my Leaf rant in the morning, guys. It's a fun time to be a Sabres fan when the Leafs are down 3-1 and embarrassing their fan base again. Like, how do they deal with it? What we're dealing with in Buffalo is painful, yes. But what they're dealing with in Toronto is equally painful, guys. Because they're the biggest playoff joke every year they get in. They always lose right away. So I don't get it. Anyway, done. I'll see you guys. I'll try to get some videos up tonight, all right? Have a good one till then.